by unknown international numbers.
We want to engage Pura, if possible to engage the GSM operators, to make an investigation about that issue, because it's a burden issue. Sometimes they call people late at night.
However, I want to know whether Pura has actually exhausted all options open to it regarding its recovery efforts, so that we'll know at what point and in what manner or in what fashion the National Assembly will collaborate with them.
And also, Honorable Chair, I'm still not very clear about this raffle and value-added services, because sometimes I do receive text messages to say that dial so-so number to be part of so-so raffle, and you will be charged so-so amount. So I'm still not clear whether that one can be called a raffle or is still a value-added service.
After a thorough scrutiny of Pura's 2012 activity report, the public regulatory body was given a clean bill of health by the lawmakers. The day-long sittings could not wrap up without the National Nutrition Agency making public its annual report before the deputies. The executive director of NANA, Pamodu Fall, made an exclusive report covering activities of the agency for the period under review. The finance and admin director of NANA also presented his part of the assignment after AA & Co. gave his audited report. NANA, according to the GPPA, out of the 8 variables, the Nutrition Agency was able to comply with 5, thus rating them with 80% compliant.
I think we have to congratulate NANA to say it may not be all that easy, but it shall be the pride of the government to, if the economy was there, to make sure institutions like yours do not request and wait, but the moment you request, it comes, because it's going somewhere necessary. I want to thank you and congratulate you, and I want to say members of the Public Accounts Committee are here, and those are open to, and the solidarity is within us. Wallahi, we will endeavor to work with you towards achieving your goals.
The National Nutrition Agency was commended by the lawmakers for its impressive performance for the year under review and unanimously adopted its 2012 annual report and financial statements. Mama J, Grts.
The Women's Bureau, under the Office of the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, together with the United Nations Development Programme, on Thursday held a day sensitization workshop on the Gender Policy and Women's Act 2010. This forum, as Uminjai reports, attracted National Assembly members and area councillors amongst a host of others, and is intended to raise awareness on these very important policy documents.
Registered in uplifting the status of women and girls in the country, the Women's Bureau under the Office of the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs looks relentless in pursuit of women's welfare. In partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, the Bureau held a day tutorial on Gender Policy and Women's Act aimed at increasing public awareness on the two documents. This forum that brought together policymakers is also designed to further inform the public and other senior officials on the content of the final Gender Policy and Women's Act 2010. Positive strides are being taken by the Gambia government in mainstreaming women in development process. Among such strides were the establishment of the Women's Bureau and the National Women's Council.
Gender equity and equality and empowerment of women remain a critical goal to be achieved. The government of the Gambia, therefore, reaffirming its commitment towards this direction, commissioned the formulation of the Women's Act 2010, in addition to the gender policy. Other efforts include the development of the sexual offense and the domestic violence bills, which are in the process of enactment.
This forum came at a time when the whole world joined forces in fighting for gender equity.
This training will be done to further encapsulate the understanding that gender-responsive budgeting is an essential element in any serious commitment towards gender equality.
The Gambia government recognizes women empowerment as a key factor in the attainment of social and economic development. Therefore, this policy should be properly looked at in the process of addressing gender issues.
The gender policy, therefore, is to further establish a clear vision to guide the process of gender mainstreaming and women empowerment, as well as implement procedures and practices which will accelerate the achievement of gender equality, gender justice, the fundamental human rights of women in the Gambia.
This will create awareness in the public and private sectors as well as in rural areas in the attainment of national development and reduce inequality, as women play a crucial role in improving their socio-economic status. With this venture, one could bear in mind that the outcome of this meeting will give a clear direction for the effective implementation of the policy and contribute enormously to the socio-economic advancement of women. Uminjai, GRTS.
The UN was officially created on the 24th October 1945 following the end of World War II. Since then, the world body has commemorated United Nations Day every year. Modu Bajan reports on the commemoration of the 2013 United Nations Day in the Gambia.
24th October as United Nations Day, which was first observed in 1948, the UN office in Banjul commemorates this year's anniversary with a presentation of the statement of the UN Secretary General. The FAO representative in the Gambia, Perpetua Katepa Kalala, who presented the statement on behalf of Banjul's UN representative, states, among other things, the world body's contribution to peace and progress for the common good.
United Nations Day is a chance to recognize how much this invaluable organization contributes to peace and common progress. It is a time to reflect on what more we can do to realize our vision for a better world.
Since the UN is the last resort for millions of people in the world, the United Nations Secretary General's 2013 statement also highlights several issues, including the war in Syria. It describes this as a stumbling block to security and as such reveals its aim of pursuing serial stockpiles of chemical weapons by means of diplomatic solutions.
The fighting in Syria is our biggest security challenge. Millions of people depend on UN humanitarian personnel for life-saving assistance. UN experts are working hand in hand with the Nobel Peace Prize Organization for the prohibition of chemical weapons to destroy Syria's stockpiles. And we are pushing for a diplomatic solution to end suffering that has gone on for far too long.
As the deadline for the Millennium Development Goals are fast approaching, the 2013 UN Day statement further dilates on this, particularly regarding poverty reduction.
The Millennium Development Goal has cut poverty in half. Now we must maintain the momentum, craft an equally inspiring post-2015 development agenda, and reach an agreement on climate change. This year again, we saw the United Nations come together on armed conflict, human rights, the environment, and many other issues.
The UN does not operate alone, and as a result, it works with many specialized agencies, including the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Health Organization. Therefore, the United Nations also describes UN Day as an occasion that celebrates and reflects on its work and that of its specialized agencies in obtaining world peace and development.
In a world that is more connected, we must be more united. On United Nations Day, let us pledge to live up to our founding ideals and work together for peace, development, and human rights.
The United Nations seek to encourage disarmament, prevent outbreaks of war, encourage negotiations and diplomatic measures to settle international disputes and improve the quality of life around the world. Given this, hopes are high as the world anticipates solutions to several international issues through the United Nations. Modu Bajan, GRTS.
From there, we'll take our first break. Stay tuned.